Welcome back to V8 Creative and part 26 of the Ultima RS build, and on this episode we're focusing on bodywork. Well, welcome back to the Dean Den and my makeshift virtual study. Well, it's not quite a study, is it? But the reason is, behind the camera there is a polythene spray booth, which is where my virtual study used to be. So for the next few weeks you'll be seeing me intro and exit videos from this very chair close to my beautiful car. So on this week's episode, what we're going to be doing is taking off the front and the rear clamshells, putting them on trestles, preparing them, masking them and spraying them on the inside in satin black paint just to give a professional finish overall, and then applying a small few items like body grills, like the front divider for the air ram, which I'll show you later, and in the back I may look at putting on the heat shield, but I'll see, it depends how time goes on. But the first thing for me to do is to explain to you all the kit you need to actually do this job. Now, first of all, clearly you need satin black tough paint. Now, this is made by Holtz, and what it does is when you apply it, it gives a lovely, lovely finish. So make sure you do have a spray booth, a ventilated area, etc., etc. But this is good stuff. Next, what you need is copious amounts of masking tape. I know I like 3M. I've spoken to you before about that. Next, we have fine blue masking tape. Now, this is really, really good for stopping bleed through. So it's available in different widths, and you'll see me using it in a minute. And this is the tape I use right on the edge when I want the paint to come up to the masking tape. Next, what we have is, well, I don't really know what to call this, but what it's like a curtain of masking material. So on the top you have masking tape, and then behind it, once you've stuck that on, it's like it unfolds. It's magic. And what that does is that gives you, for example, if I pop it on here, what that does, no, that's not working very well. It's so shiny. So if you stick this on here, then what you can do is pull. It's not working, is it? Anyway, you can pull this down and unwrap it, and it comes in really big sheets. So I've got lots of different sizes of this, and I've used it before, and it is incredibly useful and cost effective as well. Okay, next, what we need is sandpaper, because what we need to do with a lot of the fiberglass surface is to give it a key. And why we give it a key? It's so that satin black paint actually adheres very well. Now, it doesn't need an undercoat, that paint, which makes it really good. However, some of the components made of fiberglass are a gloss finish, and those in particular need a key. And you just need, this is 120 grit, but you know, a rough grip will do just to give it that roughness on the surface. Finally, we have brake and clutch cleaner. Well, I tend to use this actually to ensure that I remove any grease that's been left on the inside of the panel just prior to spraying. Now, maybe there's better products out there, but I've got a lot of this stuff hanging around. I just use it for everything. And to apply it, you can either use paper towels, or actually what's better is a lint-free cloth. So there we have it. All our materials, mainly consumables, all available on Amazon. So what's next to do? Well, what we're going to do is take the front clamshell off and start working on that. Hold tight, crack open a beer, have a cup of tea, and just watch me get dusty. So the process I use to mask the edges of the fiberglass, and you can actually see here, you can see the gel coat and then the fiberglass on the inside. And what I want is that edge to be sprayed with the satin black. So what I did first of all is I applied the blue tape, and I applied it proud, and then I got a very sharp scalpel and made a very nice line. And then what you can see here is this masking sort of a curtain, I guess it is, which I've applied here and then draped down the side to cover all of the gel coat. Now I've done this all the way around, which does take a long time. You can see there, around and around. And hopefully when I take it off after I sprayed it, it is going to leave a perfect cut line. Well, let's see.
Live your life within the moment.
Now, you've particularly got to apply a key to this high gloss finish here. This isn't quite so bad because there is a texture here, but this reinforcement part that's been added, this requires particular attention.
To the groove and the light that flickers. When you're lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. Well, get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air get thinner. Standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
So at last we're ready for spraying. It's taken ages. Anyway, so I've left this paint in a bucket of warm water just to warm it up to get it more fluid. It's not particularly cold today, which is a great day for spraying. This you need to shake up pretty hard. And the technique is, what you first do is just do a very light mist coat, just to give it a bit of key. Let that dry, just a few minutes, and then another coat and slowly build it up. So you can see here, it's just a mist. I'm not too worried about technique at the moment. It's going to be tricky to get in here, but never mind.
I'm so done with. I got time to solo. I got time to solo. done with it. Each time we get.
Okay, so my first job after painting this lovely clamshell is to fit this mesh to what I call the mouth of the front clamshell. Now you'll see already I've pre-shaped these a little bit just to have a play, and I'll put the picture up there of me doing that. And this is very easy to form. And unlike the early, the GTRs and the Evos, this expanded aluminium now has a hexagonal pattern. I'm sure you might be able to see that if I put my hand behind it. And it's powder coated in satin black to match obviously the inside of the clamshell. And what I need to do is actually put this mesh and form it so it sits pretty much in here, like so. Now, the way this is attached is along the bottom here. What we do is we get it to the right size, and I'll show you in a minute because we need to trim this. And along here, what we do is we pull it in with a little bit of wire, so to keep it taut, and then use sealant all around the edge to actually help it bond. Now, if you see at the top here, you probably can't, there's a step. Now, what I have to do is cut off from the bottom here, say, it's probably about 7 mil, to allow this whole mesh to drop, so this edge sits against the white gel coat. It's pretty difficult for me to sort of show this now, but what I'm going to do now is trim this with a pair of side snips and then pop it in. And then once that's in position, we have this. Looks like a big nose. But anyway, what this is this goes on in the reverse side, or the top side, and as you can see, it actually comes up, and it's actually a divider to divide the air coming through this hole. Now, this is an optional extra. I must say, it does look nice. Hence the reason I've opted for this option. So, first of all, let's trim the bottom off here, and then get this fitting just right, and then what we can do is move to the next stage. So now we've pop riveted this grill in 4 places. I need to seal it along the bottom as well, but I'll do that in a minute. Next, it's the nose. So this nose basically goes up underneath. And what I have to do is, with this, cut this off so it sits perfectly on the base of this right angle here. So that's what I'm going to do now. So if you see here, if we put this up, see, it's hitting the top there. So I'm slowly going to take a bit more and more off this edge here. There we go. Right, more needs to come off. So that's perfect. Just run a bead of that sealant along the bottom of that mesh. Remove the masking tape before it goes hard, and it just leaves a nice clean shape. All I've got to do now is touch up with a bit of black paint the backs of these rivets, and then also the divider. I'll pop that on permanently, and then that's all done. Excellent.
Every time I'm going out, the same things keep happening. New boy, same tricks. Coming close to me now, trying to be smooth. So here we go again, here we go again.
And that's why I go to the gym.
Don't like your cheap tricks. Take it somewhere else with ya, with ya. I don't know what you think, but I'm not one of those chicks. Take it somewhere else with ya, with ya. You got your credit card. Rolex on your credit card. Still you won't quit trying to be cool, so here we go again. Here we go again. You got nothing on me, on me. You got nothing on me, on me. You got nothing on me, on me. Looking like a movie star. You try to pick me up in your new sports car. I think it's called a Jaguar. I don't give a damn, I got money on my mind. I can see you want me bad, but your pretty moves kinda make me sad. Oh boy, you must be mad. You got nothing on me 'cause I look too hot. You got nothing on me 'cause I look too Trying to buy me drinks and I don't like your cheap tricks. Take it somewhere else, would ya? Would ya? I don't know what you think, but I'm not one of those chicks. Take it somewhere else, would ya? Would ya? Looking like a movie star. You try to pick me up in your new sports car. I think it's called a Jaguar. I don't give a damn, I got money on my mind. I can see you want me bad, but your pretty moves kinda make me sad. Oh boy, you must be mad. You got nothing on me 'cause I look too hot.
So now we have the divider in place, this grill bonded in. Next we have these two small ducts here. Now you can't get in the reverse side of these, so you can't get mesh into them. So what I'm going to do is get some satin black paint and just paint inside here so it's all a consistent colour, and also paint the edge of the fiberglass here. I'll do it freehand. I'm a bit of a modeller, I have been in the past, so it'd be quite nice to use a brush. Anyway, I'll speed this up, but enjoy.
Live your life within the moment, and don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. To the groove and the light that flickers. We get lost in the crowd, it's getting thicker. We get away from the drinks and chatter. Haven't said a word, but it doesn't matter. Feel the air get thinner.
So there we go. As you can see, it just looks like a black hole. Now if I go over to the other one, you can see inside it. So that's the difference it makes, just those little details. Anyway, let's go on with the next one.
All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away. Feel the air get thinner. I'm standing in a blurry dream. No one else can see us. So let us dance this night away.
Right, a bit of an interlude here. I've got to put this in. Right, okay, so you, a little while ago, I don't know, around 20 minutes or what have you in this episode, you saw me stupidly trying to move the front clamshell on my own. Now, the thing is, these items aren't particularly heavy. They are just very awkward. And factory advice is always use a minimum of 2 people. Now, of course, I tried to cut corners, I wanted to do it, tried it on my own. It was fine, but don't do it. Honestly, it's very, very stressful, especially when you have thousands of pounds worth of LED lighting in the unit. But anyway, everything's fine. But what is very amusing is I thought, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put the front clamshell back on the car and then take the rear clamshell off and put it on the trestles. So I thought, right, I will get the services, I will employ the services of my wife, Martine, and my daughter, Evie. Now, was that a good idea? Well, yes, it worked, but it was quite an entertaining episode, I must say. Anyway, the front clamshell, which you'll see me putting on in a minute, it went fine, actually. We did a dry run, and then we tried it, and it went fine, and it was okay. But the rear clamshell, well, I take the 2 bolts off. These are the big bolts that hold it on the rear, which makes it tip up and down. These are on rose joints. Take those off, undo the clips, and then I get the girlies, one on each of wheel arch, lifting it up. I'm on the back because that's where all the weight is. That's where most of the fiberglass and the lights are. So I'm there supporting it, and I say, okay, pivot it up, and it comes up, it's fine. And then I said, come on, move it more. Move. I said, it's too heavy, we can't move it. So what do you mean you can't move it? It's not heavy, it's just awkward. Anyway, after about 3 or 4 minutes, which you'll see, I realised I hadn't undone the gas rams. So there was no way they could move it unless they lifted the whole car. Anyway, there was no swearing. There was some stress that you'll probably sense, especially with my wife asking me, go and get Richard the neighbour. That's Rich the Lift from one of my previous episodes. But anyway, sit back and enjoy. We survived, but it was very stressful.
Yeah, go on there.
So, this thing here, the bonnet, I'm going to have the front because it's the heaviest bit,
Yeah, we'll go on.
and I want one of you under each wheel arch.
Which, what, on the side of it?
Yeah, so you're going to be lifting
It's
this.
not fit through that.
There's next to no weight, okay? Then we're going to lift it, and it's going to
Through.
come down on
Surely
here.
not on the front, not the bonnet.
Please, just listen. Here, there's 2 rose joints that have to go in those 2. I will guide that down.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So, Martine, you're going to shimmy me round there.
Yeah.
Okay? Oh, okay, I'm doing this.
Right,
You need to be able to hold this.
Like that. Like that. Done.
Marvellous.
Now,
What? Okay.
this is heavier.
That wasn't the test run we don't stick again.
Now, this is a lot heavier. Well, not a lot, but...
Where's this going? Over there.
So what we're going to do, lift this,
And tip it upside down.
tip it upside down and put it on these.
Okay.
So we don't do the tipping until we get to here, I would suggest, yeah? We haven't got a very clear pathway through here, but...
Ain't
How
nobody
far
wants to run away.
It's not, it's
Oh God.
Quite a lot of cars.
That's quite a lot of car.
Jesus, it is heavy, Dad.
right. Now, if that
You're
is
gonna be
that,
right now.
oh, it's hang on, it's
Hold
stuck.
on,
Oh,
it's heavy. Don't tip it.
Don't go.
Oh, that's right, actually.
Oh, it's
Right.
heavy with this side. My right wrist. Dodgy wrist. Okay.
Okay, right. Are you saying put it down?
No, no, it's
Right.
fine. Go.
Right. Now you walk towards me, Martine. You have to shuffle over towards me. Do you want me to go?
It's stuck on something, darling.
It needs to go in the air.
No, I can't do this.
I forgot to take the rams off. It's my fault. Yeah. No wonder it's heavy.
Yeah.
Now just hold it there. Can you hold it there?
Go and get Richard, and we need another man.
I'll just take this off. Okay, now. Right.
Oh my god, wait a minute.
Ah, now I can move it.
Yes, you can. That's what I mean. Just stay there.
Oh,
Here you go.
see what I
Right.
mean?
Don't move, don't move. Right. Here you go.
Gone, Ricky.
I'm going to stop this recording, otherwise. Right, that's. And there we have it, another episode drawing to a close, and I must apologise. Sorry for only showing you the work on the front clamshell, because even though the rear clamshell has been removed, I've just run out of time. It's just work and stuff gets in the way. And Christmas is starting to approach, and I'm getting all these things I have to do, but I'm starting to plan a special Christmas episode. And on that note, what I'd like to say is thank you for all of those of you out there leaving me comments. More comments the better. I reply to every single one. Loads of thumbs up. And I haven't said this for ages. Subscribe, because that's really good, because the more people that subscribe, YouTube pushes my video out there more, so we can widen the audience and get this brand to more people across the planet. So until next time, remember, keep smiling and happy spannering.